Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Friday morning to you all. Hope you guys are feeling well this morning. It's Friday, so I imagine most of us are. At least let's hope so. Got you an update on what is most likely going to occur for your Friday, August the 12th. I think some interesting things could certainly go on today, especially in the Gulf of Mexico. There's a little bit of a spin. There's a vortice there that could potentially do something kind of wild over the next 24 hours. Nothing unheard of. It seems like we see it time and time again. Seems like we see it 1 to 2 times every hurricane season where these little spins with these kind of stationary or stalled out or slow moving cold fronts can pop off a spin in the Gulf of Mexico or sometimes off the coast of the southeast. Next thing we know, under 24 hours later, we have a tropical storm, a named storm. So we're going to talk about that in this video. We're going to talk about the rest of the country also and just normal weather, including the dry punch of air that is moving through a good portion of the eastern U.S. as I speak right now. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. The support goes a long way, and I really appreciate it, guys. Certainly do. Hit me up on social media, especially on a day like this. Twitter, Facebook, especially Twitter. I'm much more active on there. When things are unfolding quickly, you definitely want to follow along and get the latest updated information. Of course, I can't make a video on the hour every hour, so it's definitely a great way to follow along. Especially, this might be good news for Texas, where areas of south central and southern Texas could see some rain from this. So if you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, gives others an opportunity to do so too. Let's get rocking here. Water vapor loop shows a lot of what's going on. This is this upper trough moving through. Notice it's not a wholesale cold front. If it was, we would, see more geographical regions getting more dry air influenced by this cold air. This is just a steep digging cold front that's moving through portions of Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and surrounding areas. The Ohio Valley already feeling the impacts of this, waking up to a nice mid-August morning this morning. I hope you guys are feeling well too. Here in South Carolina, it has not moved through, so it's still in the low 70s with dew points in the low 70s. But hopefully it makes it down here in my neck of the woods today. Definitely hoping so, and I'm thinking so for sure. But then we're watching this. You see these these more white colors. That's basically more water content in the atmosphere, higher water vapor. So this is where we have a lot of tropical moisture with a stalled frontal boundary. And this is actually from the stalled frontal boundary that was ahead of this one. So let's keep going here. Let's take a closer look at this and what is going on. I know you're looking at this one and saying, well, this doesn't really look like much of anything, just a blob of storms and convection. Well, that's how these systems start. And if you look right here, you got some winds coming out of this direction, and then you got the winds kind of coming out of this direction. And basically what I'm trying to say is there's a little bit of spin. Weak steering currents in place here. So this is probably going to drift across the northwestern areas of the Gulf of Mexico, maybe drift a little further south. And this piece of energy will have about 24 to 36 hours over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico with decent environmental conditions to try to spin something up. And a lot of the models are showing that happening now. You look at the short range models, which I never always recommend looking at because sometimes the convective feedback is pretty bad on them, but it's really showing a nice spin going into southern areas of Texas by the later part of this weekend. But this is going to be interesting on what this does. Looks like you got a little bit of a spin here. You probably have multiple little spins in this before one consolidated Vort Max forms. And then that's when you can start to get slow strengthening with these systems. So we're going to see what this does today. But I can tell you, as of right now, 7 a.m. Eastern time, I'm kind of making that known. There is nothing on this from the National Hurricane Center. But by the time you watch this, maybe in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, by midday, if you're just now watching this, this could have an area of interest. And I would not be surprised if it gets dropped right into here. So this might be old data. In fact, I would not be surprised at all. In fact, I would say there is a higher than 50 to 60% chance that an area of interest gets introduced right here sometime within the next, I would say, 6 to 10 hours. Just saying, that's what I think. A vortice right here. I know you're looking at this and saying, hey, this doesn't tell me a lot, but the more vibrant colors, the stronger yellows and oranges and definitely reds you see on here, that's when we start to look for a vortice. And here we go. We're getting into tomorrow morning. Keep your eyes right in here. These wind barbs coming out the southwest, then the south, then the southeast, then the east. Basically, there's a spin right here. The wind barbs are spinning around right here. There's a circulation. This becomes even more stout and more evident as we get into the later hours of tomorrow evening. And then we get overnight Saturday into Sunday. And here it goes. It starts, there's a little bit of a spin here. It's not much. It's not a full-fledged tropical storm or hurricane. But listen, I would not be surprised if this ends up being a low-end tropical storm. The Euro shows it. The Euro shows a little bit of a spin right here, moving into South Texas. I mean, all the models show it, just about. I mean, the Canadian certainly shows it right here. A little bit of a spin working into South Texas. This would bring beneficial rain. I wouldn't expect any kind of bad impacts from this. If anything, good impacts. This is what we've been hoping and praying for Texas. Now, how far north into actual central Texas does this get? That's a big question. We still quite don't know, and I'll have you an updated video tonight after I get home from the grocery store. But check it out here. There is at least a 30 to 35% chance of this becoming a tropical depression within the next, I would say, 24 to 72 hours. But really, we're looking inside 48 hours. So, you know, this is the EPS ensemble picking up on this signal here. This is a quick and quickly unfolding situation, okay? So we look at the rain predicted from the National Weather Service from this, and you can see it here. Tropical moisture regardless of what forms. A lot of rains showing up, especially down the coast of Texas and the southern coastline, but there's a big cutoff in rain near Augusta, San Antonio, where, you know, points south of those regions. That's when, you know, you start to get into more and more rain. But am I calling this a drought-busting rain? Absolutely not. But this could be some nice rains for these areas, some tropical downpours for the later part of this weekend. Like I said, we'll talk about this more when we know. Storm Prediction Center, and hold with me here because I'm going to show Texas and what the HRRR model shows it, because the HRRR model and the NAM is really showing a strong spin, charging right into areas like Corpus Christi. Let's not call it Corpus Crispy because I love saying that down there for you folks. But anyways, you can see where cold troughing is setting up. General risk of thunderstorms, no big severe risk of thunderstorms today, but along the boundary of the frontal passage and ahead of it, you're going to have some showers and storms today in areas of the southeast and southern states. And here he goes. The southeast will start this off bang really quickly. I think sometime about mid to late morning. The front is already right into here this morning as of 7 a.m. It'll start to sag further deeper south into North Georgia and the Carolinas, and I think some pretty heavy convection and showers and storms will form in central South Carolina, southeast areas of North Carolina, and even northern and central areas of Georgia. These will continue to develop, and I actually wouldn't be surprised if there's a flooding risk that develops somewhere along this frontal boundary as this thing is kind of moving slow and almost stalling out. Like I said, this isn't a wholesale clear East Coast clearing cold front. It really isn't. But at the same time, you're watching all these showers and storms right over here, which I think is going to be a very stormy day across the eastern areas of South Carolina and even down into Georgia. But I think South Carolina will be the epicenter of the heavier showers and storms. You're going to have showers and storms along the southern Gulf Coast, but watch this. As this piece of energy drifts more and more west, look at the spin that develops here. I'm going to get this in quicker motion. We're waking up Saturday morning. Look at the low pressure right here. And then if I move this very quickly, look at the spin. I mean, that is a stout spin moving into South Texas. I'll get a closer look at that here in a second. But very, very interesting for sure. We'll keep this moving here. Temperatures will be held down due to just clouds and rain. But certain areas where you actually can get the sun to come out, it'll warm up to more traditional average temperatures for this time of the year. But for the most part, temperatures will be held down to an average or slightly above average, especially the further north you get. You get under the influence of the actual troughing and the cold front, and it'll feel like a really early fall day up here. And in fact, you look at the dew points and how they will move in a little bit later today. Dry air will move into areas of the Triad in North Carolina, clearing Virginia, and start to move into areas of Tennessee, even northern Alabama, northern Georgia. The HRRR model isn't the best thing to look at as far as dew points, but it does something weird where it gets some humidity in the, for example, upstate South Carolina, But then then the winds kind of surge back out the south against winds surging out the north, and then you have a moist flow that returns temporarily before a surge of more dry air. But look at these dry air moving all the way down south, all the way to Birmingham, Alabama later this evening. We'll see how this unfolds for sure. The best thing to look at with this kind of situation is real-time observations. But what could happen in the Northeast today? Very quiet. Troughing keeps y'all quiet. No rain expected. Phenomenal day for your Friday. It'll still get into the 80s along the I-95 corridor. You know, this isn't some September cold front. It's a mid-August cold front. So, you know, you're not going to get super cool temperatures, but very comfortable. You'll notice a difference today, especially when you get to the Ohio Valley interior areas of the Northeast. But check out Texas here. We'll start this off a little bit earlier this morning, and then we'll keep this moving here. Some showers and storms could potentially form in south central areas of Texas outside of this moist feed of moisture here. But then look at here. Like I said, as we're getting into Saturday morning, a lot of tropical downpours. This is you know, this time of the day tomorrow. So 24 hours from now, waves of tropical moisture could be making its way. I tell you, this could be a big storyline here in about 12 to 18 hours. It really could, guys. It could sneak up on a lot of people. I might be totally wrong. If I am, whatever. But I'm telling you, these are the classic scenarios and setups that really become sneaky. And I would not be even close to surprised if this ends up being a sneaky 40, 45 mile per hour tropical storm Danielle. I would not be surprised whatsoever. You keep this rolling. Temperatures today still pretty hot, moist too, so it'll feel a little bit more sticky, especially as further south you get. But in general, you know, nothing bad compared to what y'all have seen at all. The north central U.S. will be a nice fall day, especially if you're in these areas. If you like a fall rainy day, you know, obviously a fall rainy day for you guys standards up here in Minnesota, Wisconsin is probably 40s or 50s in rain, but this will be more so 50s and 60s in rain, as basically you have a boundary setting up right here and you got a piece of energy flying through. No storms really, just some light to moderate, maybe heavy rain at times that surges through areas of Minnesota into Wisconsin and then all the way to Lake Michigan into the UP of Michigan a little bit later today. So it'll actually look kind of fallish minus the actual turning of the leaves, but you can actually see this cool pocket of air where there'll be cloud cover and rain-cooled air. But if you're not getting rain, you'll warm up into the 70s, and it'll be nice. It really will, but the upper trough is scooting further east, so you're starting to warm up more into southwest areas of Minnesota, points west and southwest. So that's all I got, guys. Stay tuned for updates today. It could be a quickly unfolding day, especially in the tropics out there. So God bless all y'all. Have a great Friday, and I'll have you an update this evening.